Hey guys, Matthew here once again showing you all the stuff to do with the ORO Berserker I've been playing that combos Taming with Emberwake to stack lots of ignites, and I'm going to show you all of the boss kills the game currently has to offer except for Chayula. And starting with an extremely dickish Malachi. Yeah, so that Malachi had 70% increased area, and that's all I'll show you of that. I did end up killing him, but it was just ridiculous. So the rest of the bosses up until tier 16, absolutely no problem. We've been melting through them. You don't need Taming, you don't need Emberwake for that shit. I believe that's a non-Emberwake or Taming Dominus kill right there, but for the most part, I have been using Taming and Emberwake for map clears and for regular boss kills, because it does seem to enhance my DPS a bit on the bosses, and not too much during trash clear whatsoever, because it can't really have enough time to do anything there. But Emberwake itself, stacking up ignites, once you're past 5 stacks of ignites, like I mentioned in the previous video, it should be more DPS than otherwise you'd be doing without an Emberwake. So even without a Taming, if you're just doing a budget build early on for Ignite with Auros, if you're stacking lots of Ignite up to almost 100%, then Emberwake should very well be worth it and should increase your damage in the long term on the tougher bosses. Otherwise, Taming's just a nice bonus that really does go quite a long way during the Guardian fights, as you'll see in a few minutes. But this is the playstyle of the character. I did convert it to Cyclone, as you can see, because Cyclone just ends up being that much better than Lacerate, single target, and stacking ignites. Though Lacerate does have probably some better AoE potential on quite a lot of things like large maps, breaches, that sort of stuff. In the long term, I do think Cyclone's just a better fit for this build, especially with the Berserker Leech and the Savage hits that get triggered. You leech a shitload every single time you hit with Cyclone, and you hit so many times so fast that it's really hard to die unless you just get plain one-shot. Now, this is the first or second Shaper run I did. This is still with Taming Emberwake combo, and the damage is pretty damn good for what the build is. It's basically just a 6-link Auros with a Combs. Everything else is pretty average as far as gear goes, and then Emberwake and Taming. Now, Taming has been going up in price for obvious reasons, but it is very much more accessible than it's ever been, and it's probably not the greatest use of a Taming in a build, this Auros sort of character, but it is a lot of fun if you want to enhance your Auros character that you're currently playing, and you don't need a Taming for that. So you can build a fairly decent budget Auros early on in a league, I would say. It's just a bit hard to level without any gear. And once you've done that, you can work your way towards a Taming for the endgame bosses, but you should be able to take care of just about every single boss in the endgame, even without a Taming, just it'll take you a little bit longer. So overall, the character seems to be pretty strong. If you want to compare it to the Namahu Cyclone Raider I made, it's somewhat similar. It's a bit slower, obviously, because it's not a Raider and it doesn't have quite that same level of movement speed, but the single target feels to me a lot stronger, and the survivability feels better. Before I go into that though, this is the Namahu comparison in this exact build. So if I put on a Namahu, wear a 6-link Tabula for my Cyclone, and then try and get the balls to do some igniting as well, we have 100% ignite and all this fire damage scaling. The damage is nothing too substantial. It's probably a little bit worse than just the Raider version. Whereas if we put our Auros back on against Hydra over here, you can see the immediate difference in our single target DPS with Auros as opposed to Namahus. Now, I didn't specifically build this one for Namahus, but I was just curious to see how it would function exactly in the exact same build with a whole bunch of ignite scaling. This is another Auros kill right here with the Taming and Emberwake, and Berserker, as you can see, does some heavy lifting in the leech category. Once you have 7k life, you pretty much don't really care about dodging things. You more or less just face tank, spin through shit, and it works out most of the time. Now, next up here is the Minotaur kill. For this one, I took off my Taming. So this is pure Emberwake action, and you can see that the DPS is still pretty respectable in the long term. Once you get past 4 seconds, you can't stack up any more ignites, you're just continuously re-rolling more new ignites, and that's the maximum of your damage. Now, by comparison, this is a Taming kill, and you'll see that it is quite a bit faster, but as I mentioned, and as you can see in the previous kill, not at all necessary, because even Emberwake stacks up a good amount of Ignite on single target to get a lot better. Now, you may be wondering, how the shit do you do Phoenix since you are completely Ignite based? Well, it's slower. It's worse, but still very doable, especially largely thanks to Berserker's Savage, or Cloaked in Savagery, the Leech. Anytime you take 15% more damage of your life, which is pretty much always from any of this stuff, I then gain 100% of my damage as Leech, and that means all I have to do is hit anything and you'll bounce straight back up to 100% life. So you do get a lot of uptime on the boss itself, though the damage isn't that substantial because we have absolutely no ignites in this setup. Now for this setup, I should mention I take out my chance to ignite, which is my current 6th link, and I put in Elemental Focus. So we hit entirely off of our just front-loaded damage from the Cyclone, and we buff it with Elemental Focus, and that makes it a lot nicer. I also replace my Emberwake and my Taming with some Opal Rings, which are, you know, they're okay. I'll link them in my gear profile as well, but you can stick with the Emberwake Taming. The damage you gain from Opals instead of those isn't that substantial anyway, but you do definitely want a couple of extra rings. I would recommend, if you can afford, on standby for things like Phoenix, and as well Uber Atziri, as you'll see in a few minutes. So you can see Phoenix not that fast. Obviously the lack of Ignite hurts the build, but very manageable and not that painful. I just typically don't want to do a Phoenix on this character with some of the tougher map mods, but besides that, I'm happy to run Phoenix maps, and they really don't take too long at all. It's certainly manageable. I think it'll be probably a bit slower than the Namahu Raider when coming to something like Phoenix. The Chimera over here, this is an enfeeble map as well, mind you. Pretty damn straightforward. As you can see here, you can just face tank the whole thing thanks to Berserker Leech. The only issue is, depending on the map rolls, if they're super dangerous, if they have lots of added mods, then the ads become very dangerous, and so does his smoke phase. Besides that, you should be able to take care of it. It's still just a whole bunch of spin to win. You can see my health bar absolutely ping-ponging from ads and from the Phoenix himself, but you just continue your spinning, use some flasks sort of creatively by, you know, waiting for the opportune moments, and it is very much doable. This one has Enfeeble and I think another damage roll of some sort, but it's still very much manageable, and Chimera, not at all a problem with this build. But like I said, the smoke phase can be very dangerous if you don't have the right map mods, and if you don't play it just accordingly. Make sure you keep Fortify up just before it, and yeah, it's all pretty manageable. Didn't end up getting to do a Chiula run, but I do have faith that it would be pretty smooth on this character as well. I pretty much am done with this character now. It was a lot of fun. It's pretty close to what the Namahu Cyclone Raider plays like, but a little bit tankier in that you can use a combs and you can ramp the damage a bit higher as well. This is the end of the character. I will be putting it away. I do have a full Uber Atziri run to show you. Now, Uber Atziri, not very good for this character, and yeah, I'll let you watch the rest by yourself. My freaking biggest problem is probably starting out with mana. Is there anything I could do about that? I could grab these 2 nodes here instead of a life node or 2. Okay, he's dead, and now this guy's never going to die because he can't be ignited. But I probably shouldn't ever die myself either, because I'm a berserker, and then I fucking couldn't hit anything. I pretty much fucking asked for that one. And that one. Yeah, this is not gonna be too comfortable anymore. Ah, okay. Well, DPS is like really good with the Ignite, so in future runs, if there are future runs, I just have to time that better. I killed that one way too fast and left the other one at 100% life when I have to stack ignites instead to make it a lot nicer. So that is not the fault of the mechanics, that is fucking the fault of the player. So the build so far not too bad, is what we're saying. Oh boy. Alright, I got my momentum, I'm gonna just carry it on. Now it's just this guy left, and once again, no ignites. The damage is more or less good enough to just face tank. Yeah. That should be pretty much smooth every time, with slight chances of dying. But yeah, igniting me last guy, not too much of a problem. Now it's just up to Atziri. Is that? I don't think that was just a volatile. Like, I definitely heard a volatile go off. I think it was a combo of the ranged dudes attacking me and the volatile exploding at the same time. So it was like, it looked like a one shot, but it was actually several shots. Not many portals left now. I have to, yeah, be pretty careful. More careful than that. Okay, so I think ideally I still just keep these on and just sub out early focus for Atziri and then put in chance to ignite for the split phase. I think that's how we play it. Oh no, shit. You're not supposed to do that. That meteor could hit the mirror ad. Though I think glove and chance don't reflect anymore, maybe? Can't really conk effect this bitch either. I'm leaving chance to ignite in for now because that swap between the phases was really clunky. Nah, I gotta do it. I'm just not doing enough DPS otherwise without my ignites. Get fucked. I spun too long. Oh man, I have one portal left. Well, this is a problem. Oh, Jesus. This is a real problem. You build time lol? God, go fuck yourself. This build was never designed to kill an Uber Atziri. It's really hard for it. Just seeing if we can anyway. You have to be a cunt about it. Got myself Okay, still in it. Oh, that was sketchy. Okay, we're still in it. I'm in trouble. Please give me an ad phase right now. For the love of God, give me an ad phase. In such a state of picnic. Easy, Deathless Run. God, the palms are sweaty. The mom is spaghetti.